I'm CJ Owen, your professional yeller and an occasional loud bald man that likes to call himself a vegetable, and you are drinking with Moe's.
This is Drinkin at Mo's, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's all so mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin at Mo's, where we don't quit. Drinkin at Mo's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, know it's a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Mo's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Mo's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody. Welcome to Drinking at Mo's. Big Mo here. You know the drill. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Because even though I've just passed another milestone on the YouTube channel, that algorithm is still a pain in the ass. Don't forget about the freaking audio platforms too. Things going good there, but always appreciate the help. Today, I'm excited to welcome back good friend of mine, CJ Owen. How you doing?
Mo, it's always great to see you, as always. Always good to talk to you. Congratulations on all the success as of late, brother. You were working hard, and it's always an honor talking with you.
Always an honor having you on it. Yeah, a bit of a grind, and I'll admit, I'll even admit, before the stuff started picking up as of late, there were times where I was like, man, I started thinking, I'm not going to be around forever. What's the end game going to be like here? And then all of a sudden, everything started happening. I'm like, holy shit. So yeah. Oh, God dang. I'm still a little. I'm jazzed up a little bit. I mean,
You're all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
I'm all decked up Mountain Dew. I threw Grandpa Chip's war medals off a bridge.
I gotta watch that movie again. Talladega Nights is an underrated Will Ferrell film.
Oh, classic. Like, okay, people get before we get in the wrestling stuff, because Lord knows we talk about more than wrestling on this show, and
right.
I get on some damn tangents, but yeah, no, people give Will Ferrell a lot of crap about a lot of his movies seem like he's playing the same damn person, but I'm like, am I entertained when I'm watching it? Talladega Nights? Yes, every fucking time. Especially the scene where he thinks he's on fire.
Oh yeah.
Or he goes and like stabs himself in the leg because he thinks he's paralyzed and doesn't think he's gonna feel it. Oh, good shit. Such good shit. But yeah, no, I'm thrilled. Oh God. Yep. Thrilled. I don't know any other words to say about it, because when I started, I never would have thought anything like that was going to happen. I never thought I'd be anywhere close to 450 episodes.
That's impressive in its by itself. I mean, I've ran podcasts before, and I know how hard it is to be in a one-man crew and, editing and scheduling and doing everything by yourself. Before I jumped into wrestling, I did my own music podcast, and I was working with, local music studios and everything, but I still had to schedule time and schedule people. I had to pay studio time. I had to edit. I had to make sure all the stuff it's a lot. It's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
you doing 450 episodes is quite a pat on the back.
Oh yeah. Just I looked back on some of them and realizing some of the people that I had right out of the gate within the first 100. I'm like, holy shit! Like Bronson Reed,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh god, I'm wanting to say Carrie Silken was right in there, and some others. I've talked with people, and they're like, yeah, some people have to work years to get those. And now, I mean, not to say that I haven't had some names on after that, like Dutch. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, I'm already going to be having my second episode that kind of semi tied to Bray Wyatt,
Hey, look at that.
which I love telling the story about how I found out the first one. But, everybody's seen on social media lately from WrestleCon where it was the Righteous, the Hardys, and all but like maybe one or two members of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like, wow, here soon I'm going to be able to say that I had two of the people in that video on the show.
There you go. I was
Right.
saying beforehand when we started, let's try to get you start getting some press passes. Let you get some of the upper echelon stuff.
But I'm telling you, whenever AEW or TNA or hell, I'll even shoot my shot WWE. I don't.
Might as well.
Why the fuck not? But anytime they're in the area, shit, get me the damn info of who I got to fucking talk to. And I mean, I've been left on red so many damn times that being left on red ain't gonna fucking bother me anymore.
I feel like it's always the, what's the saying? It's you miss the 100% of the shots you don't make.
Yep. And hell, that's the way I was with Joseph Sawyer. Well, hey, we're already this episode will, by the time this comes out, that episode will already have happened, like recorded. That's what happened with that one. I found his booking info and said, fuck it, I'm gonna shoot my shot.
Exactly. And I think more people should do the same when they come to their own bookings and their own chances with everything in the same mentality. We're all artists. We're all individual businesses. We all have to figure out what's best for us and our brand and how to work together, really.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And you got some big things coming up.
Yeah.
You're talking about big things for me. You got some big things coming up. I know one show that you shared with me. This episode will probably be coming out after, but hey, we can talk about the damn promotion that it's happening for.
Mhm.
August 15th, the show, the Crowning. That one looks. I'm looking at that one. I'm like, okay, like there's promotions that you can tell. I mean, you can get the vibe from just looking at the event posters. Like, okay, you got me intrigued here.
So I've reached out because I've wanted to be back in Canada for quite some time. I learned earlier this year because I was part with Norfolk County Championship Wrestling. And behind the scenes, Norfolk decided to kind of switch management. And sometimes when that happens, the management decides to go a different route when it comes to their team, which I have no ill will or anything like that. They are doing some great stuff right now. But I've wanted to go back to Canada for quite some time. And I'm there is, especially in the Ontario region, and I got hip with a place called Unified Championship Wrestling, and they've been around for, actually, this show coming up in August will be 1 year of them being in a company. And I like ground floor companies, and I
Oh yeah.
feel like Ontario has a lot of great talent that is in and around the province in Canada. And they are crowning their first open weight champion
Mm.
with a 8-person tournament. But also that some of the matchups that I am seeing on here, and some of the people that are involved in the show are very good, and I'm beyond stoked seeing it. I think as I kind of cheat while I'm trying to talk here,
Yeah.
pulling up everything. But a lot of the great talent are on there. We got Jimmy Townsend taking on Tara Zepp, Jack Williams versus Tio Tequila, who is part of a huge group that's busting out of the Ontario scene called Njpw. We have Crystal Moon versus Jurgen. We got some other great matches, great women's action. The Backslide Girls, which is Kingsley and Shay Cassidy. Shay Cassidy coming into Ontario from Australia, taking a little
Mm.
bit of a trip.
Yeah.
And Kingsley, honestly, is probably one of the top women's wrestlers out of Ontario right now. From Australia, resides in Ontario right now. They're taking on Jody Threat and Layla Wild, which
Ooh.
honestly will take match of the night, honestly,
Oh
as a
yeah. No.
sleeper hit.
Oh, for
We
sure.
also have Rudy Lockhart taking on Kyle Boone. Kyle Boone is a fantastic athlete out of Ontario. Everywhere he goes, he's a champion. He looks the part. He looks like $1 million, wrestles well, everything. We have a three-way match between Adam Wacker, Mike Forte, and Kai Drake. Kai Drake coming again. A lot of Australian wrestlers reside in Ontario. It's very interesting. But it's a very fun show. I'm making my debut there as a commentator, which is always good. So I get to be not only on a ground floor, but a very important show as well
Oh yeah.
to help out on that, and add my flair, my professionalism, my style of commentary to a great place. Plus, I get to see a lot of friends and colleagues back in Canada again. So I was really excited for that.
Nice. Yeah. No, that sounds like absolutely amazing show. I know you mentioned a few people, Jody Threat. I mean, hell, big things coming from her. I guess just recently, uh, parting ways with TNA.
Mm-hmm.
That's some like I don't know if was really expecting that, but hey, Jody Threat, big name coming in there for that, and I it piqued me when you said Tara Zepp, because I know another promotion in Canada up in Prince Edward Island, the Island Pro Wrestling
Mm-hmm.
here in went to say their October show. I got told that they were going to be there for that, so I might end up having them on through them. The promoter has their main job, so it's like it's in the busy season for that job, so we're juggling both.
Yes.
So
And I
understandable.
understandable. I mean, like I'll admit, like this year, booking wise, my bookings kind of took a hit, unfortunately, because life
Yeah,
and the shoot job and everything, and it was hard to get a lot of weekends off. Plus, a combination of just like a lot of my regular standby companies that I've worked with have either changed directions, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but like I had to choose to step away, or the company itself has decided to switch locations, or I'm not going to be doing as much in front of the mic. I have to move to post production, things like that, and it's fine because at least I'm still involved in some sort of way. I've been
yeah.
trying my hand more on like video editing and like hype videos for all the companies I do work for and everything, which I feel like it's very important on that aspect when for
Oh
the
yeah.
marketing and promotion of a company, and kind of also keep like for first time people even at the location, if you're able to showcase the video of like,
Mm.
okay, first time here, here's what's going down, here's what's coming up, why this is important, so people
Oh
can
yeah.
get caught up and care about what's going on. I've been doing that for Super Shogun. I've been doing that for Njpw Wrestling out of Canton, Ohio. Super Shogun out of West Branch, Michigan. I am planning on, pending everything, doing one for Unified Championship Wrestling,
Right.
and for them for their stuff. But it just feels obvious. I've done stuff with, Divine Pro,
Mm.
with my partner Summer Ross in there. So it just gets more eyes on your product, and I think
Oh,
more
for sure.
companies need to start doing it more.
Oh, I totally agree, especially from the, you know, introducing it to somebody that like that might be their first show, maybe not just for that promotion, but hey, maybe that's their first independent show in general,
Correct.
and you can get them, you know, making that first impression right off the bat, and really catching their attention. That if done well, it could really do some great stuff.
I think so. I agree. I'm like, and I've always been, if I can't be there in person, let me at least still lend my voice
Yeah.
doing it. So it helps not only myself, it helps the company that I'm working for. It helps put over the talent and everything. It's all interconnected. I just feel like you got to learn how, if you're going to be not a wrestler, obviously, and I am not a wrestler in any sorts. I'm 40 years old. I am not going to be doing any bumps anytime soon, allegedly. We'll talk about that more later. Especially with my other show coming up. But I feel like you still should try to help with like the marketing and production of a lot of
Oh,
things. And
absolutely.
and I feel like those old, like, I got really inspired. AEW put out a video, it was like 20 minutes long, about like, hey, this is the first time watching AEW. Welcome to our product. Here's what's going down. And I'm just like, that's simple 101 to catch up anybody for the product.
Oh yeah.
So why not do that from a show to show basis? And I was excited to start doing that also with Super Shogun, which is one of my
Mm.
my mainstays places here. I'm coming up at a little bit of 1 year now of being one of their main voices, based out of West Branch, Michigan, really showcasing, that Japanese strong style wrestling
Mm.
and these cast of characters into the Midwest. And recently I'm trying my hand on being a mouthpiece and being a manager for a young talent named Ashton Parker, who I feel like is the future of Super Shogun. And unfortunately, I have been suspended for 60 days due to interfering at the Ronin Rumble, without a managerial license. The powers that be caught wind of that. But
Oh,
I'm
fuckers.
very excited. I'm very excited to make my return, not only at the desk, but as an official manager with my managerial license at Super Shogun Samurai Slam 4, their biggest show of the year, their WrestleMania,
Yeah.
their Tokyo Dome show, their Wrestle Kingdom, their biggest show of the year, August 29th in West Branch, Michigan. Tickets are available right now. I will be back on the call and also making some moves with my good friend Ashton Parker. The
Yeah.
devil is in the details, folks,
Ah.
and I will make sure you understand that. So, all in all, it's been a lot of fun.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Doing more and more stuff in the wrestling industry and doing wrestling stuff, in general. Also, obviously, coming up in October, I have, Return to Divine Pro, and the great women that hold together Divine Pro with their show Burn Book.
That's yeah, I'm excited to see how that one goes.
Well, I'm
If it
very excited. I'm working on the graphics as we speak.
nice.
It's been a lot of fun, and that's really cool because, like, Ethan is one of the best people that I have been able to work
Oh
under
yeah.
and work with. He's real big on being a team, and like, and then all the people behind the scenes. It's really funny because it's all about women's wrestling and all shapes and sizes of women's
Oh yeah.
wrestling. But like behind the scenes, it's all just a bunch of bro dudes, and we make the joke about we we started Divine. Ethan started Divine just really to bring all the homies together and play Magic the Gathering afterwards, which is really funny. But like the people that are involved behind the scenes in Divine is such a tight knit group of
Oh yeah.
individuals, and like we talk often. You know, we are in each other's corners, we hype each other up, and we actually care about putting something very unique in a place. What literally most of our shows is a gay club out of Ann Arbor, Michigan,
Yeah.
and they know nothing about wrestling, but every show we bring in something very interesting, and I feel like it's even more fun doing wrestling shows for non-wrestling fans than wrestling fans.
It can be. I can see the logic there because, yeah, you get a lot of wrestling fans out there can. Hey, no real way around this. A lot with the amount that's out there can get kind of jaded to certain things and
I agree.
can, be like, oh, seeing that, but then you get the non-wrestling fans out there that might be there just out of curiosity, and then they're watching, they're like, oh, like you end up hooking them in, much like we mentioned with the hype videos. It can go from that point, and they're like, oh, this looks exciting, and then they go and see the result of what was coming from the hype video,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, oh, I need to come back to this.
Absolutely,
And then
and
you make a
that's
fan right out of it.
Absolutely, I agree, and it's also really fun, which kind of ties in like really the big reason why I've chosen your platform, Mo, about talking about some stuff, because there's been some stuff that that really needs to be like discussed and like put on here, and like no amount of social media posts are going to understand it, because obviously I am a commentator. I've been involved in any kind of voice work
Yeah.
for close to 20 years, so half my life. I'm 40 years old. And there's a lot of things that I am noticing more and more about the wrestling world right now, especially on the independent scene. And it's the idea of just like ethics in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And it it's something that just needs to be discussed a little bit, because it is very hard just to take a step back and not to go too much on a soapbox here, but this podcast is going to end up being a soapbox anyway, more or less. I mean, you gave me the platform, so I'm gonna roll with
I'm
it.
all for it, man.
But the world today is very decisive and very political,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It is very difficult to live in a day-to-day basis because of what's going on. A lot of things are coming to a head. And not only for anybody, if you're not a straight white dude, unfortunately, it is getting incredibly hard, especially our brothers and sisters, anybody of a person of color,
Yeah.
anybody who is in the gay community, anybody who is literally a woman. It's getting increasingly hard to do that. The biggest thing that I've always believed in is the idea of voting with your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
And I say wallet not necessarily as the physical sense of your wallet, but giving energy to the people, places, and things that you need to. I'm not
Yeah.
saying put your head in the sand and not stand up and fight for what's right. If something is going on, you do need to stand up. You need to make your voice heard.
Mm-hmm.
But as I say that, you look at like a lot of the ideas of how the internet works nowadays. You see a lot of the stuff about virtue signaling
Yeah.
and cancel culture and things of that nature. And I know this is going to sound convoluted in a moment, but follow me on this. There is no such thing as cancel culture. And the reason I say that, and bear
Mm-hmm.
with me on this one, if cancel culture actually worked, Unfortunately, a lot of the people, places, and things would not come back.
Yeah.
It's getting increasingly hard to understand that life is filled with shades of gray, and let's be honest, pro wrestling is inherently carny.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's the unfortunate signal and business on how this model has been. It has been unfortunately carny.
There's a lot of it out there. That
There
is
is a
for.
lot of it out there, and it doesn't need to be, honestly.
Mhm.
I speak highly of a lot of the places I work with, and I personally am very choosy on how I spend my time and how I portray myself and how I work in these businesses. Now, do I say have I had my share of working with some questionable people? Absolutely.
Been there
I
myself.
I yeah, I will give a perfect example. And I will say this because this man has gone through a very public um issues and meltdown and everything. You are familiar with Drake Younger, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So during the pandemic, Drake Younger said a lot of things, very disparaging remarks in the gay community. He has openly said that he was, and he doesn't excuse he's not making this an excuse, but
Yeah.
was a drug addict at that time. He has talked very, about his sobriety and his work towards everything. And at the first time I ever had the opportunity of working with Drake Younger, I was very hesitant. You know, it was very hard for me to wrap my head around this person
Yeah.
because of the disparaging remarks, but for how he held himself at that time, everything. I have friends, family, loved ones in the community. Like how do I feel about you know having me working in a company that was booking someone like him? How does that look on me as well? How does that look for the work that I want to
Yeah.
try to do and hold myself accountable? This man has like openly sat down in locker rooms and anybody who is in the community he's expressed his disdain for his actions and has openly talked about what was going on, and he says if anybody has an issue, I would love to sit down and talk to you and tell you what was going on. I don't excuse myself, things happen, things like that. I do feel like people deserve a second chance.
Yeah. I'm very much along there with you, where I'm
Within
like,
reason.
oh yeah, definitely within reason. Where it's like lots of people out there make mistakes, but is somebody actively trying to make better from it?
Correct.
And if so, then maybe have them on a short leash at first.
Right.
But then if you get that impression that they are indeed trying to make better from the mistakes that they did make and they're owning up to it,
Mm-hmm.
who's to say that they don't deserve a second chance?
Exactly. And I feel like you said it best is putting in a short leash. You don't need to be best friends with somebody in the business. You have to have at least meet them halfway in the sense of professionalism, especially if you are a worker inside the ring.
Oh yeah.
Because literally that person that you are working alongside with and working with, you are entrusting them
Mhm.
in doing the art and the sports
Oh, yeah.
style of pro wrestling.
Even more so with the Drake Younger for the matches that we all know that he gets involved in.
Mm-hmm.
There's already a level of trust that you need to have with somebody in just a regular match.
Mm-hmm.
But in the type of matches that he's known for,
Yep.
even more so.
Yes. I mean, I will say that I have worked with very questionable people throughout wrestling. But the reason I don't want to say that I've gotten out scotch-free because, I don't know what people talk about or what so-and-so thinks about me. At the end of the day, I'm not doing anything. I'm not actively trying to cut people down. I'm not trying to, I'm a happily married person. I'm not trying to sleep around. I'm not trying to, assault anybody or doing like that. Like it just feels like it makes sense in this day and age. Like, don't be a dick for
It,
for lack of a better term.
I
Like,
oh god, I literally just posted on my personal page. It was a meme from a few years ago that I posted, and I just reposted it. It said, "Today's inspirational quote: Don't be a dick."
exactly. And I just feel like when it comes to finding bookings and finding and working alongside a lot of these people, I'm not saying not make a stink about something, but I also feel like where is the ends justify the means? Because we can go on social media and yell and scream and everything, and everybody will get, insulted and get butthurt for about 72 hours, and then things move on. And there's no actual real consequences to the actions,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. And that's why I do say that there's no such thing as cancel culture in the sense that there is no such real consequences for certain somethings.
Oh yeah.
We speak about something of like the speaking out movement and the Me Too and everything. And those were actual movements that had some consequences
Yeah.
with an asterisk on that.
Yeah.
Because there are certain people that were from the Me Too unit and the movement and everything. Me Too unit, that doesn't make sense, but Me Too movement. I just feel like they're people in like jumpsuits and they just have like Me Too. Sorry. Anyway, jokes aside.
I knew what you meant.
Yes, the Me Too movement, unfortunately, there are certain of those individuals that do end up coming back,
Yeah.
or tried to come back, and obviously people make a big enough stink, and people move back of it. I remember just recently. I'm not going to mention people's names or anything, but in the Michigan area, there was a person that came under fire, and rightfully so, for their actions they did in a match that was not appropriate against another person involved in the match because they were at one point involved with each other. And unfortunately, someone in the state decided to reacclimate that said person that because of the disparaging actions they did, they thought it would be a good heel moment to bring them back.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that makes not only an ass out of you, but you are making a platform to saying, oh, what this person is doing is good enough or is not a hard enough red line for me to give them a platform back into this business. I'm sorry. There's a big problem with that. And that's what
Oh yeah.
I feel that more and more people need to realize. And it's the idea of voting with your wallet. I go back to that is
Oh yeah.
spending that energy into supporting the people, places, and things that will actually do well for the business as a whole. It
Oh yeah.
is, yes, if you are a budding talent of any sorts, you want to work with everybody under the sun because you want to get your name out there.
Oh
And
for sure.
as you should, to a point.
Yeah.
Then it comes to the idea of just like, okay, who actually will have your best interests in heart? Not only that, but who, if you spend that energy, time, money, everything of you working out, gear, promos, promotion, etc., to a platform that actually will do good for the business as a whole, no matter how big or small they can be,
Mhm.
is the ends going to justify the means for you?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest question that I have for a lot of people, because honestly, I could be online and kick and scream and shout and everything, but I am a person that I will speak up when it needs to be speak up. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just the employing people that are questionable.
Yeah.
Another thing, the big discussion as of late, everything is the use of AI. And the, and I understand the ideas of AI. I understand that, when you run a wrestling promotion, it is very expensive. Let's call it it. Let's call
Oh
it
yeah,
how it is. It is very expensive to do everything. And you don't realize that it's not only just paying talent and paying a venue. It's paying concessions, it's paying marketing, it's paying for publicity. It's doing all of this.
yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that the AI of it all, the marketing of it all, is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We can
Well,
go on and on about
the,
how the issues of AI are not only bad for your brand, but bad for the environment, and literally is showing of what's going on. But it just shows you that if you're willing to cut corners in that aspect as well,
yeah.
how much are you supposed to be cutting corners for everything else?
Oh
And
yeah.
I get it, and I understand that like a lot of that stuff is hard. But do you know how many creative people are out there that just want to try to have an opportunity to put themselves out there? And how do you get better? By doing it more and more.
Exactly. Getting those reps in, like I've
Much
talked with.
like wrestling, much like
Exactly.
spots, much like everything else, the more reps you do, the
Mm-hmm.
more things you get better at. It's a much like a muscle. I haven't worked out in almost a month because I was dealing with damn parasites from lettuce. All right? Like and I feel awful from doing that. And now I'm going to be heading back to the gym. And I know it's going to be sore. I'm going to be sore as a motherfucker. Excuse my language. But I
Ah,
and
you
I
know you
know
can
I
punch.
know, but I still, it's again professional.
You,
Uh, the idea is I know I'm going to be sore as hell when I go into that again, and I know that I'm not going to be as strong as I'm going to be, but I want to get back to that because I care about what I'm trying to do. I do, I'm no stranger to admit this. I do the graphics for Divine Pro. I have been in the last handful of shows. Am I the best graphic maker in the world? Absolutely not. I'm mediocre at best. However, I'm still miles ahead of the AI crap and the
yeah.
slop that you are putting out. And with such a heavy backlash, why do you want to constantly do that? Like,
Yeah.
if just spend a couple of bucks or make a deal or work with somebody else in situations. There are plenty of people who just want the
Mhm.
opportunity. Much like there's
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of wrestlers and workers who just want an opportunity to showcase what they're doing. Same goes with the marketing of everything.
Mm-hmm.
A long-term goal for me is trying to make a marketing 101 for a lot of companies because I came from the outside into wrestling. So I have a marketing and broadcasting background and the publicity of that. And I bring that into wrestling. I didn't come from like a wrestling background that doesn't necessarily know what's on the outside. So I'm trying to meet people halfway because I know plenty of people that don't know how to use social media or don't know how to market on social media or market as in, into the level of like Google Ads or everything, but or even just putting together a poster. Like I know plenty of people who just have a hard time doing that. Like they got the wrestling part and putting the event-based
Yeah.
stuff together, which is great. But that's your skeleton. What makes a body?
Mhm.
Muscles and
All of
circular system and everything else on top of it.
mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing. And I just feel like more and more people need to realize that the ethics of it all will reflect back on you. And I just feel like nowadays, you speak about a lot of the choices that now TKO and the WWE are now doing, and the people that are influenced by, and the platforms that they are doing. Again, it depends on which side of the aisle that you're looking at. You can see what they're doing might be vastly unpopular. And even them speaking about having using AI in making storyboards and everything. And I question that. And I question the idea and the ethics of that all. Of just like, why do you want to do that? Yes, you are the biggest company in the world, but why go to that far and cut corners of all of that? Like I don't understand. Just to save a buck, you can make hand over fist. Why are you going overseas to very questionable areas that treat women and people of color and gay communities and everything so badly? You could still do that in America. Like I question all of that. And I can tell you I don't watch WWE. I still follow it just for the sheer fact of like it is the biggest company in the world. But I just
Yeah.
again, I don't spend my time on that and I also don't go on, outside of today because I'm just speaking about my experiences and
Yeah.
everything about the ethics of it all, but I'm not going to go out of my way to complain on social media, to hate watch something, which it
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
don't
There's no
understand.
point in that.
There's no hate. Like I get it. Like if you don't like a certain brand of wrestling or types and everything, to hate watch it and constantly putting out content to goad people to interact and hate interact with getting all those things. I don't understand. I just there's so much more time and time is so finite and there are so many things you could spend that energy on
Oh yeah.
to support the things that you actually love instead of
Absolutely.
constantly putting your thumb down on something else. I I'm not saying that I haven't gotten caught up in being upset and angry and crashing out on social media and everything. I'm only human. I'm a
I've been
millennial.
there. Been there.
We've all been there. But like I also want to bring that same energy in the stuff I want to do. I want to help
Oh yeah.
support my friends in puzzle overseas in Taiwan.
Yeah.
I just made a video for them of a trailer for them for getting people getting hyped up in for their stuff for people who don't understand what's going on over there. Those are great men and women that have been building more and more. And now in the last year, I've seen them. They are working with some of the biggest names in Japan. They had President Tanahashi on a
Look,
show.
I was gonna bring him up.
Yeah,
I saw that Tanahashi was over there for them. I'm like, holy shit,
yeah.
that's
Minoru Suzuki was on an event for them. I called the Minoru Suzuki match.
oh god.
Like,
As somebody that has only, unfortunately, my commentary now seems to be lost wrestling media, but I've, as somebody that has wanted to get more into it, man, calling a Minoru Suzuki match, I just
I
it
mean,
get,
I wish it was live, but I obviously they gave us the footage from back from March, and they're literally
still
halfway
something.
across the world, but still great. Like John and I always believe in trying to support everybody as best we can. And
Yeah.
again, we are only human. We've all gotten caught up in the drama.
Oh, for
We
sure.
all have. I'm not saying you don't need to do that, and I'm not saying don't make your voice be heard if something is actually wrong, if it's
Mhm.
endangering the lives and safety of people around you. Absolutely say something.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying in the day to day, your actions always speaks louder than your words. And I
Oh
know
yeah.
that is cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason.
Oh yeah.
The talk about all of that, of actually working and actually showcasing what you can do.
Right.
I am honored and love that I have gotten my hand in wrestling in these past 5 years. And back in April has been 5 years for me. Um, I started in the deathmatch world, which is already a questionable place as it is.
Yeah.
But from there I have gotten the opportunities to work with some incredible people.
Mhm.
I've gotten to work with, and I still get to work, and I still dip my toe into the deathmatch realms when I can. Obviously, RPW has new management, but I'm still working alongside those men that are doing some stuff. Have they done some questionable things in the past? Absolutely, but they have not done anything um and I'm not saying they haven't done anything that I call something. No, I just feel like at the end of the day, I am working alongside them because I am a professional and I want to help them succeed. And I see the vision and I enjoy them as people. We are all flawed,
Yeah.
but that doesn't give the excuse, unfortunately, especially when it comes to the harming of other individuals, whether it is hate speech, whether it is
Yeah.
physical violence and things of that nature, or different rhetoric that is supporting that same thing. There is
Yeah.
lines. There are hard lines for stuff. And
Oh,
I have
for sure.
stepped away from companies because of said hard lines, because of their ethical choices and everything, and that I will not work for. And if I do work for them, I make sure I get my money first. You
Oh,
know, it,
Lord knows I've been there with somebody that I'm not naming because I've said and I put my hard stance on it that I will never mention them by name on this channel. But the experience I had like during the show that I got to do, yeah,
yeah,
during the show it was awesome. I literally made a poop joke on commentary. I had fun, but stuff that came out after that, I ended up being the one to confirm the rumor. I literally made that statement, and I've literally said I will never, like, they've basically been written off. Hell, they've been written off by pretty much anything wrestling within the Omaha Lincoln area. Like,
good.
nobody wants anything to do with them. And actually, in line for a show recently, somebody tried talking to me about them. I'm like, I let it go for like a minute, but then I was like, I wasted enough of my breath even talking about that to
Mm-hmm.
that person before and dealing with them. I'm just not.
Look, and a lot of situations unfortunately happen. You learn too late, and you
Yep.
learn and let live.
Yep.
Unfortunately, and that's the only thing you can do.
No, for sure.
A lot of the situations, and people will say, "Well, have you heard about such and such?" And I'm like, "Well, that's unfortunate, and now from future, I will." If I have to end up being on a show with those individuals and everything, maybe put a bug in somebody's ear and saying, "Hey, maybe not consider them next time," or whatever. It is hard. It is hard and not hard to make the good choices.
It definitely can be because, hell, I know even relatively recently, I mean, some of the stuff that's come out since, like, I legit had a recording scheduled with somebody that literally 2 3 days later, all of a sudden this slew of stuff started coming out, and like, well, fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, yeah, I guess that. And literally, probably, I don't think I've seen anything from this person on social media since. So I'm like, well, okay, that made my job easy.
It's just it gets to a point where you're just like, what is actually going to be worth everything?
Yeah. No.
Not only for you and your brand and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, again, these companies, these people don't need to do underhanded stuff. Like, it's not hard. If you don't have the money to run a show, don't run the show. If you don't have the funds or anything to do something properly, don't. And
Mm-hmm.
if for some reason there is a delay to something, just be upfront.
Yep.
Hey, you're not going to get paid today because we got a check and it won't clear till Tuesday. Whatever. Okay, great. I understand that's frustrating for a lot of people that use some of that cash on the travel home and depending on where you're at and everything. But also understanding your own worth. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you're doing a bunch of work and you're getting pennies on the dollar, especially with everything going on, again, it leads into everything that is happening and what is all interconnected and how your day-to-day living expenses are. If it's not going to be worth your time, energy, money, and everything, if it's not going to be forwarding everything, I'm sorry, you have to take the tough decision to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have to end up being an adult situation.
Oh yeah.
and
And
and and yes, again, I am, a grown ass man. Maybe certain situations, depending on who I am as and what I am as a person, it might be a little bit easier than me than anything else, and I'm not denying
Yeah.
that whatsoever. But what I am saying though is that you can make the right choices. You should
Mhm.
be making the right choices, and it's not hard to make the good choices. And that, at the end of the day, this is pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is the most
Mhm.
beautiful thing in the fucking planet. And I
Really.
mean that in my soul because it is so unique. It is so special. It adds everything that is good about sports with the illusion and the fantasy and everything that the arts and the creativeness come
Mhm.
together in just a beautiful amalgamation. And
Oh
like
yeah.
wrestling should be not in a dark corner that it is
Mhm.
still treated to be as.
Yeah.
It
No.
should be in the same level of respect that they give a lot of other sports and a lot of entertainment does because it combines the best of all worlds.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And I'm sure a lot of fans and other people in the business will could probably agree with me here because I know I've said this about wrestling in certain things. Like I've been open about some mental health struggles from the loss of the twin girls and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I actually just passed their fourth birthday, what would have
Mm-hmm.
been. And yeah, I remember I think I wasn't too far into the podcast when that all happened. And yeah, that's probably been the one break that I had from it was right after. And I remember some of the first, like GCW shows. The first actual show that I went to was a Revolver show. And like it's just it it was an escape that took me like a lot of people with their favorite movie, their favorite TV show, whatever it might be, their or heck, going into sports and entertainment, watching their favorite team or whatever. Take that escape away from it. That I got that with professional wrestling during that time, and heck, that's one thing that I've always hoped in some way, in some getting to maybe dabble into more commentary or getting whoever on that might not necessarily have gotten that platform before, given back, for the lack of a better term. It maybe there's some stuff that maybe I won't be able to pay wrestling back for, but if I can make an attempt, fuck it, I'm gonna try.
If you
And
can leave the place better than you found it, I feel like that is success.
oh, most definitely. And that, like, yeah, I'm not saying I'm ending the podcast anytime soon, but I know I definitely have some goals still left that I'm like, I, I want to do this before I get to that,
Mm-hmm.
meaning the end game of it all. And like, I know maybe I'll get a little emotional here because I mean I'm going to be talking about my little boy that's
Right.
upstairs getting ready for bed, but like I brought it up before that, like I know I ain't going to be around forever.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually everybody's time comes. Like they're not gonna nobody lives forever,
Mm-hmm.
and like I just know that, man, one of my things for the show is I hope whenever my time comes that my son can just be like, Dad, I got it. And with here I fucking go. But I just hope that I can get some of those goals accomplished. And whenever my time does come and my boy's missing his daddy, that like I have all this to leave him, that like he can just pop open YouTube and there he is, or driving somewhere, like, oh, you can listen. And hell, maybe pop open YouTube and there's episodes where I think it was God, the, oh, damn it, the name's escaping me right now, but the twins in TWE that like
The Goons.
the Goons. When I recorded with them, he was literally a couple months old, and I'm having him in the bouncy chair right here, and like bouncing with my foot as I'm recording with him because my wife had to be. And like I even picked him up at one point, and like there's literally a couple months old him. We'll get little stuff like that. I'm just hoping that he can look back and be like, man, my dad really did something cool here.
I love pro wrestling. I have been more emotionally fulfilled from my time in pro wrestling than I have ever done as in being in radio and being any of the other shoot jobs that I have done. And don't get me wrong, I love my time in radio and I love entertaining people for this stuff, but something about pro wrestling just just fills my soul, and it kills me that due to life situations and everything, I'm not doing it as much and as fulfilling as I can be. But any opportunity that I can do what I can do and share that love with good people like you, with the good people that I work on behind the scenes in like places like Divine and Njpw and Super Shogun, spreading the good word on wrestling literally across the world with Puzzle. um that's what I get out of it. That's what I
Oh
care
yeah.
about. And that's what I want to, be remembered as. If for some reason I have to step away, I want to make sure that people at least enjoyed the parts that I have brought to the table, and I added something, and maybe hopefully I inspired somebody, or somebody took the advice, or somebody liked the call that I did and they use it for something else. Like, and I feel the same way as you, with everything. It's a beautiful place to be. We
Oh, for
can
sure.
make it more beautiful, and it just starts with just your basic decisions. That's
Oh,
pretty much, if I can leave on any note, that would be it. So,
oh yeah. No, definitely. Now, a mutual friend of ours
mutual friend of ours.
had a question that he was like, man, I like he wanted me to flip it in. So I was like, this question that he had that I'm like, I'm sure I can sneak that in. And I figure, you know what? To kind of brighten the mood from me getting a little emotional there, I figure, fuck it, why not? We're gonna sneak this question in here now. And I think by the question alone, you're gonna know who I'm talking about.
I'm afraid of who this is, but go on.
Your favorite bow tie of his.
God bless it. Knew it. I freaking knew it. Anyway, what was this question?
Your favorite bow tie of his.
Jesus. It's the one that he hasn't worn yet.
Ah. Oh man, that was good. Oh man.
I knew as soon as you said mutual friend of ours, I'm just like, oh, this son of a bitch. I already know. He's a good kid.
Oh yeah, no,
He is like the little brother of mine for wrestling. It feels like sometimes I get to work with some incredible people. Like, Josh Jonai. I do great work. Summer Rawson, for my work there. My time during Norfolk with Sean Winfield. I've been working more with Toddy Tondera, out of for Njpw, some of the stuff. John Bullard, obviously, we do work for Puzzle, and our times with Flow. I get to work with some incredible voices. Dirt Sheet Dan that I've been doing with Shogun the last handful of shows recently, and everybody in between that I get an opportunities with. I just did some work with Kevin Gill. I've done work with Ron Nemi. I would love to work with more people like Veda Scott or Ian Riccaboni, and more people. I would love to do more with Phil Samper.
Oh,
Um,
love that guy.
I love Phil. Phil's great. I've only been doing. I mean, it's a dream of mine to be on a Revolver show, one way or
Oh,
another.
same.
I want to be on Revolver so friggin' bad, but they got their team locked in. So, but
That,
one day for sure. And I mean, really, that's the goal for me. Is like I want to do wrestling commentary as full time as I can,
oh
and
yeah.
that's the biggest thing. So if we can make something happen, we can make something happen, and that's where you need to follow me on all social media at CJ Owen calls the number 4, the letter U. That's where you can follow me. And also the same email, CJ Owen calls for you at gmail.com. It's not CJ Owens. People put an S on it for whatever reason. It is CJ Owen. Fun fact, the CJ and Owen, the name from that, because I broke away a little bit from Peapod last year. When it was announced that we were English commentator for Puzzle, I wanted something a little bit more professional. I decided to shift off Peapod. I'm still called Peapod to this day, and I don't mind it. It's the day that anybody stops calling me Peapod. But the name is in reference to my grandparents, who have always been a big influential help for me. Even the tattoo on my forearm from the grandfather clock and the owl with it represents my grandparents. CJ was the name that my grandmother would call me a lot, and it is actually my two of my real initials of my real name, and Owen is the last name of my grandfather. So when I
Hey,
decided to make a more professional sounding name, CJ Owen, made perfect sense. So
that to that seems like a good note because okay, I remember it's happened a couple times lately,
mhm.
and we'll round it off here. But there's been a couple wrestlers that have had to change their names going to WWE that people initially were like, well, what kind of like a what the fuck sort of reaction. But then they go and explain the meaning behind the name. Like I know the two examples I can think of right off the top of my head. Royce Keys and
Mhm.
Mike Santana. I'm forgetting the name that he's going by now, but I remember seeing the explanations behind it very much in the same light as CJ Owen, and it's like I hear the explanation. I'm like, yeah, well, with those two, I might have initially been like, what?
Yeah.
But then I hear the explanation. I'm like, that I can dig that, especially knowing the story behind it.
Look, I've been Peapod since senior year of high school, and that's 2004. I'm never not gonna be Peapod. However, when it comes to the realms of and what the echelons I'm trying to reach for, I will
Yeah.
never not be Peapod, but I rather be called what I'm being called now. However, again, it's the day that I'm not being called at all. It's the day that I'm worried about. So,
Nope, most definitely. Well, that is about all I have. Always a pleasure having you on.
thank you, Mo, as always.
You're welcome back absolutely anytime.
Oh, I'll make sure I will be.
My issues with this fucking button again. My fat fucking